Hey, Jose, we need another one for your collection, eh? Hey, look, Boodle! Hey, how come you're not playing hockey, eh? Don't do that.
They're not the canned garbage that you listen to. They're real. They're from Canada. It's super cold, so they have to rock super hard to stay warm. I'll take your word for it.
Confined under the psychiatric care.
Now, I think he just pressed one of these buttons here.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Dog Show Drive.
Canadian edition.
I'm Will Alexander.
And I'm Yvonne Norton.
Yes, you are. And this week in the Dog Show Drive, we're going to talk about sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship.
And how it's lacking, how it's not lacking, but how important it is.
Yes.
And we're also going to talk about history from the Westminster Kennel Club. And we have a special guest appearance from friend of the show, Shawn Nichols, president of the Canadian Dog Judges Association. So all that and more on this week's edition of
the Dog Show Drive.
Canadian.
All right.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dog Show Drive.
Canadian edition.
I'm Will Alexander.
And I'm Yvonne Norton.
And we're back this week. What did you do this week? We have no dog shows up here right now, so we really didn't do a whole lot.
What did we do this weekend? Well, nothing. I did nothing. I just did some work.
Nothing in abundance.
Nada. Zip, nada.
You probably shoveled snow.
No, you know what? I didn't have to shovel. The girls, Darren got a leaf blower for Christmas. So
that's a good idea.
I think the girls took the leaf blower outside and did the deck and the dog run. It worked really well in the dog run because we have the artificial turf. So it's nice and it had like a layer of ice on it. But yeah. So that was good.
Thinking about using that to clear my car the other day. I thought I should get my leaf blower.
That was the other thing we were thinking of too. Yeah. No, seriously, it worked well.
Why not? Anybody use a leaf blower on their car, let us know.
Yeah. So
any friends of the show out there that use a leaf blower?
Yeah. Ours is
and not a maple
Milwaukee.
leaf blower.
You are a maple leaf blower.
Yeah.
And I watched football. I did watch football all weekend.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah. So it's getting down to that time of the year. So
yeah. What did I do this weekend?
Oh, you went to the antique. You went antiquing, didn't you, or something like that?
I did. I went antiquing with Colin Brownlee, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
How was Colin Brownlee?
How was Mr. Brownlee?
He was great.
Yeah.
He was great. He bought a handheld mixer. Remember that one that used to?
Yes.
You spin and it the blender goes at the bottom. It's like they used to use in the cartoons to make their boats go.
Or they used to ride them like a bicycle.
He bought one of those.
Oh, was it big enough for him to ride?
But he can't wait. He couldn't wait to get home and try it though.
Do you imagine? That should have been videoed because you can imagine how frustrated he's going to be.
Hang around, Andre screaming at him. Here's the electric one.
I paid good money for this.
I paid $7. And I walked up to the booth where he was looking at it. He had dragged some civilian in to talk about them. So there was him and this woman in there talking about these blenders, how she uses hers at home all the time.
Oh, no. Meanwhile, the poor woman has no clue who Colin really is underneath that.
I don't know. She was just going along with it. I think he was using
underneath
a bit of a Scottish accent
sunshiny exterior.
Oh,
he's
hilarious. Yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. And then there's a bakery in Freelton, and we both were excited to go to the bakery. It was closed, so it was Sunday. No. So he left.
Did you go for ice cream then? No.
We went home. I went home. He went home.
Yeah, everyone just went home. All right.
I called you. I stopped at Firehouse.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Can't say enough nice things about them.
Firehouse subs. We have one here too.
If you're hungry, go to Firehouse
Subs.
Friend of the show.
They They don't know it, but they are.
They don't know it. But I did watch things this week, and I'm going to tell you about them.
Okay. Later or now?
I think I'll tell them right now. Okay. Because I didn't really find it on the internet. It's just what I did.
True.
So it doesn't. It's not part of that.
Okay. All right. Carry on.
So I went and saw Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie with Timothée Chalamet. 5 stars, 5 out of 5.
Really?
Can't say enough nice things about it. It was wow. I downloaded every Bob Dylan song onto my playlist now, so all day long. All day long.
I'm sure. Kind of miss now not going to dog shows in a van for 8 hours where you could do your whole playlist. Can you imagine if we had playlists back when we traveled? Instead of having the tape,
cassette
tapes that we had to, and you had to make them. You had to make your own.
You had to search to find what song you wanted.
and to skip forward was a pain in the butt.
Yep. And then I watched on Netflix the 6-episode series American Primeval.
Right. You told me about that. I looked at that and I thought, I want to watch that, but.
Very gripping. Gripping. Another 5 stars. Can't say enough nice things about it. 5 stars.
Wow. You're just handing out the 5 stars.
And then I watched the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Dallas Stars.
Ooh.
1 star. I couldn't even make it through the 3rd period.
No.
And Jamie always messages me after the games, and he was like, "That was a lousy game." I said, "I don't know. I shut it off."
Cut it off. I'm erasing it from my memory.
I shut it off.
If I didn't see it, it didn't happen.
Yep. And I wasn't going to watch Jay on right the next morning and replay it again. I wasn't going to do it. I even skipped that the next morning.
Wow. Yeah. A little PTSD over there, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I did hear in the news, the hockey news, and I know people don't sit here to listen to us talk about hockey, but I heard that Stu Hyman and family, they purchased, what team was it?
The Brantford Bulldogs.
Yeah, the Brantford Bulldogs. That's nice.
OHL, Brantford Bulldogs. Yeah. He and Zach did, I messaged them both, congratulate them.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Very nice.
Stu answered me. The cop showed up for me for messaging Zach so much. But No.
Yeah, that's how Stu Hyman was a client.
I showed Old English Sheepdogs for Stu Hyman, and I've met Zach when he was a teenager. He's the nicest guy, and I know I message him after games because he unfortunately gave me his cell phone number.
Oops, it's your own fault.
But so now he's friend of the show, Zach Hyman. He doesn't even know it. But he's so gracious. He answers me almost every time.
Oh, that's nice.
He's such a good guy.
As he's answering, this is my dad's weird friend.
Oh, geez, that guy that has the dogs.
So that's what we did. This is the weekend in the life of Will and Y.
Yeah. Oh, but your candlelight, this is it tonight. So what do we have? Do we have any dog stuff? I guess we have some closing dates.
Yep. Let's do Across Canada, driven this week by
Show Scene, Dog Magazine.
Yes.
Our friend of the show, Linda.
Friend of the show, Linda. Don't forget Wildwood Kennel Club. That closes on Monday, the 20th. And that's a Diana Edwards show. And that's the one at the that's the first weekend in February, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it starts the end of January. I think it's a 4-day event.
It is a 4-day event. Yeah.
Which I am unable to attend this year because I have to go and adjudicate in West Springfield, Mass.
Oh, listen to you. Oh, that's close to a dam, isn't it?
Yes.
Nice. All right. And then we have then heading out west. They start their shows out west after this. Crocus Kennel and Obedience Club, February 15th to the 17th. That's in Brandon, Manitoba.
Colder than the face of Mars.
Poor Brandon, Manitoba. They always get that.
It's
anyway,
so
but
cold.
they have.
It's so cold.
How cold is it, Will?
It's so cold. The Flashers and Brandon are just using pictures.
It's a good one. It's a good one. We've been practicing that joke like for a long time. So anyway, but it's held at one of the facility that show's held at is a premier facility. It does everything at the Keystone Center in Brandon, and that closes. Just don't go outside. That closes on Wednesday, January 29th at 9 p.m. Central Time, and the show secretary for that show is Corinne Walker. I believe that is our
friend of the show,
chairman of the board. I think too, isn't she?
Yeah,
of the CKC. Yes. And then next up is Ladies Kennel Club of BC. And that's the following weekend, February 21st to February 23rd out in Chilliwack, BC. And that's 3 all-breed dog shows. And that's held at also a very nice facility, the Chilliwack Heritage Park. And the closing date for that is Wednesday, February the 5th at 9 p.m. Pacific time. And the show secretary for that show is Classic Show Services.
Who is that? Who's Classic Show Services?
I don't know.
Okay.
I do know, but I don't know. I can't remember. We'll look that up. We'll get a name.
Right.
We'll get a name. We'll get a name to that. Yeah, we'll get a name.
Get Megan, friend of the show, to look it up for us.
Yeah, Megan, our friend Megan Wozniak, friend of the show.
Wozniak,
who provides us with all kinds of information.
She basically does the show now without doing the show. So.
Yeah, she does. Megan, this is
was my joke.
That was Megan's joke, by the way. I forgot that. Oh, I said, "Ooh, that's a good one. We'll try and work it into the show this week." Anyway, do you want me to keep going, or do you want to do some of these? Okay, so Woodstock and District Canine Association, February, same weekend as Ladies, February 21st to the 23rd, held in Woodstock, Ontario. 3 all-breed.
You get to see Alex and Cheryl Smith there. That's the only time we ever get to see them now.
Oh, really?
That show, yeah.
Oh, well, that's lovely. And Alex and Cheryl Smith are, for those that don't know,
they were our photographers.
They were the photographers, yeah.
You can still see the red cap and the red vest.
Yep. I can. Excellent photographers too. Okay, and that's 3 all-breed shows, limited breed shows for groups 1, 3, and 5, and that's held at the Oxford Auditorium on the Woodstock Fairgrounds. And the closing date for that show also Wednesday, February the 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And show secretary is MJN Show Services, which is now Vicky.
Yeah.
Vicky
used to be Joey Natras.
Joey Natras, yes. Joey Natras, she was also a judge too, was she not? Yep.
And friend of the show.
Yeah, and friend of the show. Then Victoria Kennel Club, the following weekend, February 28th through to March 2nd in Duncan, BC. 3 all-breed shows and limited breed shows for 3, 7, and retrievers. Throw a little woohoo in there. At I'm going to say this wrong, Cowichan Exhibition Park in Duncan, and the entries close on that Wednesday, February.
Cowichan.
Is it Cowichan?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get a confirmation on that.
Somebody will call and complain. So
yeah, someone will. On Wednesday, February 2nd, which is the day after the garden, at 9 p.m. Pacific time. And that is also a classic show service for those that are wondering. And of course, you all know all this and more can be found on Canuck Dogs. Yes. So what else do we have here? Oh. Off you go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have a promo for a grooming seminar that's being held in St. John's, Newfoundland, January 24th to 26th, 2025. Grooming seminar with the legendary Fancy Nancy Johnson.
Nancy Johnson.
Nancy Johnson. She's such a wonderful girl, Nancy. Yeah. She's so helpful. She will help anybody. She helps me every week at my handling class.
Aw.
She does. I
know. She's a good chick. She's a good chick.
She really is. She really is. Kicks off with a meet and greet on Friday. Then they dive right into the show grooming. They're doing show grooming on Saturday and pet grooming on Sunday because there's a big difference. Hosted by Pamela Skanes and Noreen Lorenz. All proceeds going to the Newfoundland and Labrador junior handlers.
Oh, cool. Very good.
That's a great cause.
That's nice. Yeah. And you know what? Even if you're not, for anybody that's interested in going and think, oh, well, I'm not really, go. It's a social event. Go. And there's a lot of things you may learn.
Oh my gosh.
Tips
Even
and
if you
tricks.
don't have English setters, go, because you'll learn techniques you can use on anything. So.
Yep. And I mean, Nancy's a fantastic pet trimmer.
She's not just doing English setters. That is her breed, English setters.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
But it's going to be for a great cause, and it's going to be a informative weekend. So.
Yeah. Well, I got to reconnect with Nancy at the English International this last year, and she was very kind and did not tell my children all of our stories. Because back in the day, Nance and I spent a little time together. But it was, it was great. And you know what? She hasn't changed a bit. Not a bit.
She is great. Like all through the summer when I was having issues, she was always checking on me and bringing me things. And she looked after Clark a lot of the time for me. If she couldn't, she found some place for Clark. Clark's my Bouvier.
Yeah.
Because not everybody can look after a 110-pound Bouvier for you.
Right.
So she's unbelievable.
So, yeah.
Well, they're a supporter, and she's doing this all for proceeds for junior handling. So I think she's just going to hang out with June and Noreen and have fun in Newfoundland and do a seminar.
Well deserved. Yep. Excellent. So now, as promised, I actually did get to interview friend of the show, Shawn Nichols. Shawn Nichols, the president of the CDJA. But what we discussed was the changes to the oral exam guidelines, basically. And it's just about changes to what breeds, whether you do look at sides, fronts, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because the setter standard changed in the past 2 years.
Yes, because we do.
Like the other setters, you just look at the front. Well, now they want you to look at all front and sides. So
yes, so
only in Canada, not in America, but in Canada.
Yeah. So we're going to have a little look and discuss stuff with Shawn.
Did you teach in the CDJA song? Is he going to do that for us?
He's not quite ready for that. Well,
okay. All right. Go ahead, Shawn.
So I would like to welcome the newly elected president, Shawn Nichols, friend of the show, of the CDJA, and he's going to go over the new guidelines for the oral exam, because we've had quite a few listeners ask us to discuss this. So we're going to go right to the source. So Shawn, tell us what's the new oral exam? Is there actually a new oral exam, or is it just some guidelines?
I think there's been changes to a few of the breeds. Basically with as far as opening and sides. So, I mean, I'm sure most of the people are aware there are 3 processes to, four. There you have front, sides, open, and thumb exam. So depending on, and then the CKC and the American Kennel Club have both created guides for judges to basically follow in doing the oral exam for each specific breed. I think it's really important for exhibitors to be aware of what those new processes may look like, because it has affected some of the breeds, where some of the breeds previously maybe you haven't had to show sides. Now moving forward, one of the benefits, I think, as far as a judge, is I think if we're ever in question, most show secretaries that use the dogshow.ca, it actually includes the description of the oral exam on the top of the judge's page.
Yeah, there's a code at the top for the judge. So
if it's front only, side only, or front sides open, thumb. But I think, it's definitely in the US, and I don't know as much in Canada. I think it's really we're not really doing a lot of oral exams as judges ourselves anymore. We're leaving it up to the exhibitor. I think it's kind of, I don't know what the exact percentage of judges would be. I always do the oral exam last. I
Yeah.
used to do it first, and then I just, when it came to the point of exhibitors having to show the bite, I now do it last. I think as far as judges go, we're extremely patient when it comes to puppies. I
Yeah.
think there's less room for patience when you're dealing with a 2 or 3 year old dog.
Or
When
even
you
a special.
Yeah, well, and well, no, and it's like I was just recently judging in Switzerland, and I just don't think it's very appealing to be judging a Rottweiler upside down on the floor as they're trying to show you front, sides, and open. So
Open.
I really, 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 if you're having challenges, exhibitors, with showing your bites, I don't. If you know that your dog is not great with the bite, I think if a judge does do it first, I don't think they would be offended if you said, can you come back to it at the end of the exam? I think really about 80% of us are really looking at the bites at the end of the exam now
Yeah.
anyway. Um, so but just make sure that your dog is prepared, especially if you now have changes in a breed where you're only used to showing the front. So now if you have to show the front and the sides, visually, you don't want, the idea of us not having to do the oral exam ourselves is that we're not cross contaminating from one dog
Right.
to another. And I think since we've done this process, I think we've seen less challenges with dog flu. I don't think it's impacted as heavy as it has in the past. So
Correct.
it really is for the benefit of the people showing their dogs and for their overall health. But make sure when you're showing your sides that it's visible. You basically want to be able to see from the canines all the way back. So if you just open up a portion, it may mean that the judge has to go back in for a further exam. So if going to handling classes and getting help with instruction on how to do that is necessary, I would definitely, as we're kind of ramping up and heading back to the show season,
Yeah.
take the time to do that, because it just makes excuse me, it just makes everything go a lot
Smoother.
more smoothly. I think the dogs have a better experience. And it's, I do know occasionally there are dogs that are challenging as judges. I think we can tell the dogs that are a little bit, too shy, but really try to work on it as much as you can, just to expedite the process and make it a good experience for everyone.
Yeah. And so, what about like for example, the thumb breeds? Now, the judge has to do that, correct? For the thumb breeds?
Hold on one second. Yes. So, and it was funny. I actually recently saw someone do a thumb exam that it was a televised event, and I was actually surprised because the person that was doing it did it incorrectly.
Oh,
So basically, a thumb exam is from side to side, and what you're really doing is you're really just making sure that the alignment of the jaw and the face, and both Yvonne and I have bred Persians.
yes.
So, alignment in the nose being in the center of the jaw and the center of the head is extremely important. And it should basically create, 4 equal sections. But when you're doing your thumb exam from side to side, it's not just a matter of feeling over half of the face. You want to make sure that you move from one side completely to the other side. If you feel that for any reason that the alignment of the jaw is off, because that's basically what we're doing, is we're checking for rye or basically structural issues at this point, then you can ask the exhibitor for a further exam if you feel something is in question.
Okay. So then the exhibitor would have to do like the standard show
standard
me your
exam.
dog's bite.
That's just if through your thumb exam you feel that you have felt something that doesn't feel right.
Right. Okay.
You can then go into and we have to realize that these thumb exams are basically exams that the National Club has deemed the only part that necessary is really structural. We're not really
Yes.
We're not being tooth fairies because the National Club has said that that's just not a priority.
Right. So
So
I just want to explain to some of our newer people that are into dogs. When we talk about thumb exams, it's for the mostly the brachiocephalic breeds, correct?
Pekingese, pugs, English toy spaniels.
Yes, Shih
Uh,
Tzus.
no, Shih Tzus are not a thumb
Oh,
exam.
they're not. Okay, excellent. So it's not all breeds that have to go through a thumb exam.
No.
It's there is a limited in the listing of the different breeds and the what exam they have, you can find on the CKC website as well.
Yeah, and it's a very small list. Like I say,
Mhm.
English toy spaniels, Pekingese,
Yeah,
Chin.
chin.
Um,
Yeah. It's
you
mostly
know,
that it's just the toy breeds then, is it not? Or there are some
no, there's nothing.
French?
I, no.
French bulldogs? No. Yeah, see. So you would have to go check on the list then. For sure.
Yeah, so
But
and again, you're just basically feeling from side to side, and you're just trying to make sure that structurally everything is sound
yeah.
in the mouth.
Okay. So is there any other suggestions or recommendations for exhibitors other than get your dog used to the exam that you suggest? Or do you think, I think we've covered most of it.
No, my if I was going to say anything, it would be totally unrelated to what we're talking about.
Hmm.
Is I would think as we move forward into the future and the modernization of our sport,
Hmm.
and people use social media and social platforms for a form of communicating. We have to really remember at the end of the day, social media was created as a way for us to connect with people. It was
Yes,
not created to be a sounding board for people to go off and make criticisms of exhibitors, judges. I see all too often really the most outrageous comments, and you want to know everyone is entitled to their opinion, and you want to know. And so a friend of mine recently said this to me, and I think it was a judge that I respect very much in Switzerland. And he said, a lady, when we were talking about an exhibitor in question, and the lady was challenging him on something, and he said, ma'am, last time I checked, you paid for my opinion. I didn't pay for yours. And just remember, at the end of the day, who you show to is your choice.
true.
You check the box. You don't have to check it again. You may not like the way I judge, a particular breed or your breed, but at the end of the day, it's freedom of choice. And who you show to really it's you're asking for that person's opinion whether you agree with it or not,
Yeah,
and just be respectful. And, I think all too often I'll see exhibitors make comments about procedural aspects and everything. Most Very few judges that I've witnessed lack on procedure, because I think procedure has basically been drilled into us for so long. um but just be mindful that if you come into my ring, and I'm very methodical in the way I judge. If you come into my ring and your dog is a singleton, I'll have you go around to the table. I can see pretty much everything that I need to see within 20 feet, so, or 40 feet. You come in, you go this way, you turn. Just because I do not watch your judge go all or your dog go all the way around to the table does not mean I am giving you any less of an opportunity as anyone else in the ring.
correct.
And there's a lot of judges out there. I feel that we're all very similar. Sometimes it takes you 3 times around the ring to get it right. But for the most part, when I go over a dog on the table, all I'm really doing is confirming what I just saw, going in a circle.
Correct.
So but just be mindful. I think, like I said, moving forward, social media has become such an enormous component of what we do. And I think at the end of the day, we just have to remember we need to be kind.
It's very true. Very true. I'd like to thank you for your time today. And then we're going to try and get together again in February after your board of directors for the Canadian Dog Judges Association has got together. And we're going to go over the purpose and the goals of the CDJA. So have a great month, and we will talk soon. Thanks, Shawn.
Sounds good. Have a good day.
Bye now. So that was pretty good. I found that to be informative.
Excellent. Good job, Shawn.
Yeah. Yes.
Always have faith in you. That's why we voted for you.
Yes. Well, I didn't. I'm not a member yet.
No one knows who voted for who. I think I voted for myself. Couldn't say enough nice things about him.
As always. But what Shawn was touching on there also kind of brings us into our topic of the week. And we were going to speak upon sportsmanship. Right. Yes. And you would, we kind of had a little bit of a discussion earlier, which brought us into this.
We all scroll through Facebook now. We all do that.
Yeah.
And if you don't, someone else tells you what they found, like us on the show.
Yes. And then you go looking for it.
Right. Well, this week I came across, actually somebody sent it to me, and it was a professional handler that is quite a prominent professional handler. They do a wonderful job with their dogs. They went to a different country to show their dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess one of the exhibitors in the country, who is well known in that country, was quite rude and about the exhibit that beat their dog, and was not very positive about it, and did it on Facebook, on social media.
Yep.
And the handler that was showing the dog, the one, objected to it all, and they couldn't take it anymore, so they posted about it. And I hate to say they threw out names there too, which is it's hard to call, but it does bring us down to sportsmanship. And overall, I think sportsmanship has really progressed in our sport. Like when I was a kid showing dogs, there was almost fist fights outside the ring. And I remember, this is the truth, my father and Brian Taylor, who eventually became friends, but when they were showing,
I knew you were going to bring up your dad.
when they were showing Irish setters against each other, it was never pretty, pretty. Like, because Brian dominated, but every once in a while, when Brian lost, he would lose to my dad,
right?
And that didn't go over well.
No, nope, like a lead balloon.
My dad and my mom and my dad went best in show in, I think it was Sudbury. I can't remember the name of the dog. I can't remember the dog show. I think it was Sudbury. And the show was over, and Brian was there. And Brian and Judy were professional handlers, so they had a group winner in the best in show lineup too. So they had to stay for best in show. And the worst thing imaginable for Brian was my dad with best show the first day of the weekend with the Irish setter, which makes the rest of his weekend harder to compete.
Yeah.
So they're walking out in the parking lot, and Judy turns to my dad, Dave, said, "Congratulations, Dave." Brian, don't you congratulate? So times have changed. It's not like that anymore.
No, thank the Lord. Thank the Lord.
Thank the Lord. From the show, Darlene.
Yeah, from the show.
But I'm telling you, it got really, quite tense at times at the Irish setter ring. Like, and not just with Brian. I remember the other altercations with other Irish setter people too.
Yeah,
always involving my dad though.
Common denominator.
But the things have changed, and like when you think back of like Brian and Gary and Harold, but Harold was never really a poor loser. Harold was always pretty good. But there was a bunch of them. I don't know if you remember Al Dashner and Ron Drew with Cockers, and there was a bunch of them that just, it was the end of their lives for the weekend because they lost something. Yeah. And they would try to intimidate judges. Well, those days are over. So that doesn't happen anymore. Like, I remember asking a certain judge when I was younger why they did that. Like, I knew that judge had a problem with that person, and that person had a special in the ring, and there was a ring full of specials, and they ended up putting this person up that they had a problem with. And and I'm not going to say a name because you'd be dumbfounded to know who it was. I said, why did you put that dog up if you like, I know the other dogs are just as good and blah, blah. And
right.
They were afraid of him, afraid of the handler.
Yeah.
And it just shocks me. Like, what on earth are they going to do to you? Are they going to blow up your house? They're going to burn your car? They're going to
flash your tires. Worst case scenario, they're going to meet them out in the parking lot. Yeah, but you're right. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen to that extent today.
No, not.
But
some sour people out there that make faces and say rude things, and
I think what we should remember is that your sportsmanship should not just be at the dog show, but it should carry on to your social media platform. And this is the part that I have a lot of trouble with when someone goes to Facebook, like you just said, and then they blah blah in their mean mouthing stuff, and they'll say things about people. They won't name names, but everybody knows who it is. And I do appreciate the people that are like, who are you talking about? I love those people. Who are you? Because I'm like, yeah, who are you talking about? But I don't feel that is necessary. No, and I understand people wanting to call, because this is what's become of our society, calling someone out on, a dirty deed that they did. Well,
on social media.
Yeah. Like, is it necessary to call them out on social media? Because to me, if you're not going to say it to my face, don't be saying it at all then, because you're not letting me have a chance to either explain my situation or, give you all the facts to why this event occurred. Because we all know when we talk about dog show events, someone will say something and it's like that. Remember that old game telephone you used to play? Well, we're old. And it was like, what was the phrase, 6 people down to what was the phrase when it got to the 6th person? And sometimes it would not even be the same story. Right, exactly. And that's what happens. And so I find, like everyone, we don't need to pile on. And I think we do that a lot. We just pile on, or all of a sudden, something similar happened to me. And then, but it's not, was it similar or just you didn't get a chance to, air your grievance?
Back then. We have to give handlers back in the day, like Brian and Carrie and my dad, they're due because they would say it to your face.
Exactly.
Look up and say it right to your face. Nose to nose.
That's it.
My mom and I are in the car. Let's go home.
Okay. Honk, honk. We're ready to go, dear. Yeah. But, and that's, I don't know. I think that is probably the worst feature of our social media and our different platforms is the fact that you can get these keyboard warriors that, and the other thing, and I've said this
platform without having a backbone,
right. And, and I've said this to you a lot of times. I don't like to discuss the situation if I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. I didn't see it for myself. I don't know what happened. If it was right or wrong, like given some of the information, this is how I feel about it. But I'm not about to take to Facebook and stand on my soapbox and decide how I feel about something, So when I wasn't there to see it for my own eyes. And I think we should also...
people got to realize this is such a subjective sport.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing personal when you get defeated by another dog. It's not like they're not downgrading you and your dog.
No. But unfortunately, people do take it personally, right? So, but you got to remember, well, because and it's because we're like the majority of us are very passionate about it, right? We're very passionate. You put some effort and work into it, and you want to succeed. And when you think you should have and you don't, well, then, owie, it does hurt, right?
And you know how many times?
10. I'm just joking.
Man, I don't know. How many times I was given that best in show ribbon by a judge that gave me second group the day before, and they commented how well I took that yesterday.
Yeah. So the long and the short of it, don't be a dick. No. Well, it's true, right?
It's true. It's
and
true.
we need, and that's the other thing. We need to be kinder to one another. And sometimes you got to just be like the song Frozen and just let it go. Let it go.
Don't start.
Because it does nothing for our sport to harbor or to expound on something that, maybe wasn't a big a deal as we all would like to make out, because that happens every once in a while at a dog show all of a sudden.
No.
I know, crazy. But these things happen too, and we all just have to let's take a deep breath and think to yourself, in 3 years, will this matter?
Remember Jimmy Campbell?
Oh yeah.
Rest in peace, Jimmy Campbell. But he was hilarious. He gets so mad. He load up his car and speed away from the dog show. I remember our friend Billy Milne doing that at Belleville, loading up his car and his truck, and off he went, and he ran out of gas 100 yards out of the dog show.
Here's your exit. Put. Oops. Just stay in the car. No one will notice. Yeah.
Or would go walk to the gas station and get some gas.
Yes. So, and it's very important when you're in the ring, you congratulate the winners, whether you feel they should have won or not. It wasn't your opinion that we were paying for. It was the person standing in the middle of the ring, and congratulate the winners.
Handler didn't do the pointing. That used to make me so mad when certain handlers would get mad at other handlers for winning. Point at themselves.
No. Trust me, if we could, we would.
Yeah. Can't say enough nice things about him. We'll always say it.
As always. Yeah. So congratulate the winners. And, it doesn't have to be, and I always hated that. Congratulations. You don't need to do that
can't
either.
Be sarcastic.
No, just the quiet congratulations or good job.
Congratulations.
Good job. You don't have to, it doesn't have to, be
because you know what? That person is the first person to complain when you don't congratulate them.
Yes.
So it's
I know the people. Well, it's so funny because I know the people that don't congratulate me. I know,
sure
that. Yeah. I have a list. I'm just like Sheldon. I've got a list in my head. I know the people that don't congratulate me. And I always congratulate, there have been times, there have been times you've been beat by a dog and you're like, what? WTF? And but you still say congratulations, because that's that's just, and you're showing other people that life does go on even after you lose. Life does go on.
You know what else grinds my gears though?
What grinds your gears?
When people revel in their win, and not revel because they won, they revel because they beat you.
Who they beat. Yes. Yeah. It's it's not the dog. It's usually the handler. It's who they beat. And you know what? Yes, I understand from an owner's perspective to be able to beat the great Will Alexander. Yes. Did someone say tribute? So, but it is exciting. But you know what? You take everything with a grain of salt because I'll tell you, tomorrow he's coming back twice as hard.
Oh, exactly. You're right. It is very exciting when they beat, especially even as a young handler, when you beat an iconic handler that you've looked up to your whole life. That's just, I'm
not going to lie. It was thrilling when I got to beat you. Thrilling. But I always liked what you said. Taught her everything I know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just goes to show you what a great teacher I am.
Goes to go, yeah.
But so with that, it's just important to be a gracious winner as it is to be a good loser.
Gracious winner and loser. I agree. All right. What's next? What does Megan have for us next? Oh, promo. Don't forget, I have an interview coming out next week, a breeder showcase interview with John and Chris Hartz from Crescendo Pomeranians.
Crescendo.
That'll be a fun one.
That'll be really,
I couldn't, and I know John can't, I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to do the interview. He says he's probably wishes it was right now.
Right now.
Chris is like poking him, get there, you got to talk now.
So John and Christine Hartz are, John used to be a professional handler out in the Maritimes
for a very good professional handler.
Yeah, prominent, yes, for a long time.
But he was not only was he prominent, because people can still be prominent in certain areas. He was good. He was competitive anywhere he went.
Yeah.
His dogs are in great condition. He showed dogs really well. I had him judge my seminar out there last year. He did such a great job. He's right on the money. And it was fun to see him too.
Yeah. So. And then Christine and John, they breed Pomeranians. Yes.
Yeah. World famous Crescendo Pomeranians.
World renowned. Yes. So what other stuff do you got going on too, other than what other interviews do you have? Anything coming up with Keenan?
I've got some people lined up. I don't want to
you don't want to spill the beans.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Keep us all waiting.
This isn't like coming attractions at the theater, But I do have some news. You see the book behind me?
Yes, your book.
For the Love of Dogs.
For the Love of Dogs.
The Love of Dogs. Yes. And it's available on Amazon.
Amazon.com or .ca.
Both. Mm-hmm. And I'm working on For the Love of the Game.
What's that? What?
It's going to talk about the main character in this book, how he got started.
Oh.
So this is a story about an older gentleman, Captain Irving, that is mentor to a young person who ends up rising and doing very well. Well, this is going to be a prequel to this. They're going to talk about Captain Irving's.
So it is about. So it'll be about Captain Irving.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool.
And I was hoping to get Sean Connery to play Captain Irving, but he's not alive anymore.
He's
no
dead.
One's approached me yet anyway, so it's okay. But I'm sure when they do, I'll find someone appropriate to play him.
Who was I just thinking about for a Scottish?
I don't know. Don't pause us too long thinking.
Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler, yeah.
I like him. Chicks like him too.
I know chicks like him.
Chicks like him. All right, well, let's get on to some of our...
Bar. Chicks dig the bar.
Let's go... Shut up. Let's get on to our all the stuff that Megan looks up for us. And we said that...
I forgot to talk about one thing. I'm sorry. I want to go back and talk about it. Because as a judge...
okay.
I'm a new judge.
Yes.
But I did notice some judges' comments last week of not being tagged. They do not want to be tagged in your win picture.
Yes.
They don't want friend requests the week before they're judging. They don't want any of that. I actually had a person who posted a picture of a win that I gave their dog. And they messaged me, they private messaged me and asked me why I didn't like the picture. I said, wasn't it good enough that I liked your dog? I don't have to like the picture on Facebook for the world to see. But that is, and I know it almost sounds cliche-ish, but it's true. You get an assignment and new friends come out of the woodwork.
I have heard that. I've heard that time and time again because a lot of my friends, my brother, Shawn, a lot of these people are judges, and they said, "Oh yeah, you get announced on a panel, and then all of a sudden the friend requests just start flooding in."
Yeah, for sure.
And it's and to me, it's like I don't like to discourage people from not learning about judges, but it's a touch on the tacky side. It's a touch on the tacky.
Well, yeah, like
if
you're like, and I'm friends with a lot of people, So,
well, yeah, because you're the famous.
You don't have to tag me in your pictures. I'm chances are I'm going to see it anyway.
Yeah.
And judges do like seeing the dogs they put up. They do.
Yeah. I think it would mean to me as a person, I would think it'd mean more if someone private messaged me the win photo saying,
I just got a picture.
Would like to say thank you.
I just got a picture of that. I gave the dog the group somewhere, and he just won the group. He won the breed at Spaniel Club. The show. He won the whole show at Spaniel Club. So it was nice to get that picture. So thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, subtle. You don't need to broadcast. Like, everybody knows the wins that are happening with, now with social media, we all get to see who's been winning over the weekend and stuff like that, and who the judges were. So you don't have to
find out 10 minutes later.
Yeah. I guess there's not really that much phone calling anymore to clients.
Oh, gosh, no.
Not that anyone ever called me.
We're usually there.
True enough. But the one time I wasn't, still, I had a little trauma over that. Your dog's lame. Yes. Do you think he's cold? All right. Okay, so let's get on to our Westminster extravaganza.
Westminster, yes.
Yeah, let's talk about some Westminster stuff. So Megan, for us this week, she's got some Westminster history for us, and then we also
facts.
Yeah, and then also some information on the show, the upcoming show itself. So we'll go through all of that. So the first is, well, see, I think this is like history, but facts, history/facts.
It is history.
Yeah. It's about the logo, and everybody knows that the logo is an English pointer named Sensation. Mm-hmm. And so this is what Megan has prepared for us. She does it so beautifully. I should read it. So in 1876, the members of the Westminster Kennel Club, then primarily a shooting organization, commissioned one of its early officials, George DeForest Grant, to send to England for a pointer which the members could use for breeding purposes. He received a photograph of a dog named Dawn, which had won his bench championship in England through show triumphs at Shifnel, Osterwesty, Birmingham, Swansea, and Llanelli in 1875, and at Newport and Carmarthen in 1876. So these are all big old historic shooting dog shows. Impressed with the pictures of the dog as much as with his show record, the members arranged to import him under the name of Sensation. Volume 4 of the English Kennel Club stud book listing him as Sensation, formerly Dawn. Formerly known as Dawn. So, brought to this country, Sensation was promptly registered in the name of the Westminster Kennel Club in Volume 1 of the stud book of the National American Kennel Club, which subsequently became the American Kennel Club. His entry in that book as number 1261 shows that he gained his American championship with victories at Baltimore in 1876 and at St. Louis, Boston, and Baltimore in 1879. His show career, however, was limited since the primary object in his importation was to strengthen the breeding stock of the club members. So he was more busy at home than he was on the road.
Members.
He never won Best in Show at Westminster, but he inspired many paintings and head studies that were used on the WKC catalog covers on and off from 1878 to 1935. Then, in 35, a steel engraving of Sensation was discovered in the collection of prints. Prints, engravings, and paintings of the well-known sportsman Harry D. Kirkover of Camden, South Carolina, and New York. He loaned the picture to the Westminster Club to permit its reproduction. This became the iconic logo that we know today. It was used from 1935 to 79 as the cover, and then in 80 to 82, a head study of Sensation was used. It was decided in 83 that the steel engraving logo be used exclusively, and so it has been to this day. Interesting fact, in 1923, there was no Best in Show award in that year. The American Kennel Club barred interbreed competition for 1923, except in the miscellaneous class. Comprehensive new rules for group and Best in Show judging were adopted, effective for the following year. Interesting, eh?
That is interesting. It's crazy.
But they didn't have any, basically the show as we know it today didn't really exist. I guess it would just be specialty shows.
I guess, yeah.
Just for breeds. Yeah. Because you wouldn't compare apples to oranges like we do now. Right? So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
And then we asked Megan to look for the Canadian Best in Show winners in Westminster, and she got one that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
In 1918, champion Haymarket Faultless. That's a good name, Faultless. You're gonna live up to that, you know. Bull Terrier, a white Bull Terrier owned by R.H. Elliott. The judges was Messrs. Vinton T. Brees, Charles Hopton, George S. Thomas. Oh, George S. Thomas was the referee.
So I wonder what the referee did.
What's that?
I wonder what the referee did.
Broke up fights. This one I do know. In 1975, champions for Lancelot of Barvan, Old English Sheepdog, owned by Barbara Van Ward. The judge was Harry T. Peters Jr., and the handler was Malcolm Fellows. Do you remember Malcolm Fellows?
I've heard that name, yeah.
I've known Malcolm for a long time. I had known Malcolm for a long time. He's passed since, but he was always very positive about my career. He was very good about it. He did very well in dogs, but he gave me. He was judging Ottawa junior handling finals, and he awarded me best overall in 1975. And that was interesting because 40 years later.
Yeah,
I got to show Miss P the Best in Show at Westminster, so it was kind of interesting because he had done it that year.
Yeah,
when he passed away, his secretary sent me a message asking me if I wanted that picture because it was on his desk. My junior handling win. Yeah.
Oh, did you take it?
Yep.
Oh,
and in 1979. Champion Oak Tree's Aristocrat, who was one of my favorite dogs of all time.
Yes.
Irish Water Spaniel, owned by the legendary Anne Snelling, Mrs. Anne Snelling. The judge was Mr. Henry Stecker. Do you remember the handler?
It was Bill Traynor, wasn't it?
Bill Traynor, yes, it was, of course. And then
I remember he was a cover dog. It was a cover. It was one of the first times like I really looked at dog magazines because it was the Dog Fancier.
The original Canadian Dog Fancier.
Dog Fancier, yeah. Yeah,
he was on the cover, Soaking Wet. Remember that cover, Shawn?
Yes.
What a great picture.
Yeah.
In 1982, Mrs. Snelling's Pekingese, champion St. Aubrey's Dragonora of Elsdon, went best in show.
Yes.
Judge was Robert V. Lindsay, and the winner again was Bill Traynor. So
yeah. And that dog was bred by
Bill Taylor and Nigel Aubrey Jones.
Yes.
So. And then in 1998,
was there, got to see it. Friend of the show.
Fairwood Frolic, the Norwich Terrier, Rocky. And we had the pleasure of trying to lead break Rocky as a puppy. Do you remember that? Remember Becky trying to get Rocky to walk across the lawn on a lead?
No. Take your spoiled brat and go home, Rhodey.
Rocky, she was eventually owned by Sandina Kennels, but she was bred by
Lotus
Tutton.
Yeah.
Okay. The judge that year was Dr. Josephine
Dubler. And the handler was famous Mr. Peter Green.
Mr. Peter Green.
Yes.
And I always used to say when I grew up, I want to be Peter Green. He's still the best.
Yes.
And in 2015, champion Taston's Looking for Trouble, Miss P. The Beagle Bitch. Owners Eddie Zook, Lori Krendelmeyer, Caitlin Krendelmeyer, and Brody Kavanaugh was the owner. The judge that year was the Honorable David Miriam, and the handler was
This guy I know.
Friend of the
What's his
show.
name? Friend of the show. Yes, it was you, Mr. William Alexander.
Yes, I had the honor of showing Miss P. So
yes,
yeah, that was incredible. And I interviewed David beginning of this year, David Merriam. I mean, wonderful.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, he's such a well-spoken man, and he was talking about how he was trying to, because in America, I believe you only have to have approved for one group to judge Best in Show. Yes. So that was his very first Best in Show that he ever judged. Because he only judges terriers. Yes,
that's what I was going to say. Is he not a bull terrier breeder?
Yes, he is a very famous bull terrier person. But he tried to present to the board that if a judge that wasn't approved to judge hounds, he had to write a written critique about that breed if he gave a Best in Show and he wasn't approved for it. He had to write a test and a written critique. I think that's how it went. And so he's wondering if he would have passed after putting the beagle. So he's just a gentleman. He's just I really enjoyed.
That was a good interview. That was one of your. That's a Canine Chronicle interview, isn't it?
Canine Chronicle TV was the first. I think it was the first interview when I got back from the hospital. It was my first interview back.
Oh, okay.
I even enjoyed the prep time with David. He told stories after the interview that I wish he had told during the interview. He's just an amazing man.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. You can go on about the newbies. Oh, this is newbies, or just a refresher. Go ahead. Go ahead, Wivey.
Oh, thanks. So also Megan went and looked up a whole bunch of information for if you're going to the garden, and some of the information on the location and some of the other things that you may not, if you're a listener and you're wondering about ever going to the garden, some of the other facts and, stuff like that. So for the Westminster, now all of this information, she pulled off of the Westminster Kennel Club.org website, and that website is fantastic.
It is. I went on that. It's an amazing job they've done.
Yeah. So she starts off it has amazing videos for new people or anyone wondering how to access the new Javits Center and the Madison Square Gardens for breed winners. So if you happen to win your breed, what most people may not understand is that we're not all in one location. Like, it's not all one location now. You have to go into the city to Madison Square Gardens and load up there, and then that's where they do the groups in the evening. So it tells you all about the shuttle service, because there will be a shuttle service between the Javits Center and the Madison Square Gardens.
And they're right on time, because the boys, the
Foley
crew,
boys,
not the Foley boys anymore. Harry and his crew. They do an amazing job.
Yeah.
An amazing job.
So there's all information about access and unloading, the unloading info. And we'll put the Kennel Club's web address there so that you can take a look. So it says, don't forget your WKC package with hang tag and wristbands. So if you are entered at the garden, and you will have received in the mail a hang tag, and that's basically for your vehicle so you can maneuver around in the loading zones without being yelled at, because remember, you're in New York, and your wristbands, which is the entries into the show. And the one thing, the very first time I went to the garden with you back in 94, I believe, I didn't realize the amount of security they had for the dogs. You do not leave that building unless no
one's taking a dog that's not theirs.
Nope. And you think, because there's been other shows you go to and you can slide in and out. No, there's not any.
Not happening.
Not happening at the garden. Not at all.
Even to the extent when we're packed up, ready to go home the next day, we're scrambling to get all the ownership stuff together.
It doesn't just stop after the day. Nobody's leaving with a dog that's not theirs, or you don't have a right
not
to
agent of
take that dog home. So anyway, you receive 2 wristbands per entry. If more are required, then you need to purchase them online, so you can get them all prearranged. The ring will be turf supplied by Field Turf Landscape, and will be in all the rings at the Javits and the MSG rings. The potty areas for dogs, which is, you don't really think about that, but you're downtown concrete jungle. Potty areas for dogs will be at the loading dock areas of the Javits Center and will most likely have shavings or some sort of fill. Unloading at the dock area will be approximately 10 cars at a time. So it will be a process. Don't think you're just getting in and out. It'll be a process. And you are to unload your stuff
at the... It'll be a well-organized process.
The
Harry and his boys, and they get you in and out, and they look after you. And
it's not, you're not, it's not there's a word I was going to use, but I can't. It's not a Verdammte. So it'll be
for all our German folks out there.
For our German friends. Thanks, Tim, friend of the show, Tim Heron. Anyway, you can unload your stuff at your benching area, then move your car, and then come back and you can prepare your benching area. So basically, to keep the flow of traffic going, just get all your stuff out, put it where it's supposed to be, and then go back, deal with your vehicle, then come and then set up your area accordingly. Escalators will be turned off so that exhibitors and their dogs can use them as stairs, which is really smart, actually, because then more bodies can, utilize space. Elevators are available if required, but are small and will be more likely to be slow and busy. Parking can be reserved now. You can reserve your parking now via Spot Hero. There's an app for both venues. So that's something to think about, to have all that done and you're not, worried. And because once you get there,
if we were going, we'd ask Megan to do it.
Yeah. If we were going, we would totally have gotten Megan to do it.
Megan, get our spot for us. We're going, but we don't have to do that.
No, we don't have to have a spot. So, but because you're going to be excited when you get there, and you're going to forget things, and you're going to be panicked about stuff, and just because you will be, because it's thrilling. It really is thrilling. So, if you can get your parking passes done beforehand. And now there's shuttles. There will be shuttles running from the New Yorker Hotel, which is a very it's one of the larger hotels that.
And it's very central. It's a lot of dog people are in and around that hotel.
Yeah. Meaning you'll see a lot of people and have a lot of fun. The New Yorker Hotel to the Javits Center, Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday from 5:30 to 12:30. 5:30 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. So it's like all day long. And then on Sunday, they run from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. because there's not as much going on Sunday. So dogs and their people will be prioritized on the shuttles. So meaning if the shuttle is full of dogs and you're standing there, but you're ahead of a dog, you're not getting ahead of the dog. They're going to make the dog get to where they need to go before you standing there just wanting to watch a breed. So just remember that. And they're very adamant about stuff like that, making sure that the dogs and their people get to where they need to go. So there's an exclusive entrance for exhibitors and their dogs into Hall C1 at the lower level on 11th Avenue near 38th Street. There will be plenty of people wearing purple jackets who will be able to help answer questions and provide directions. So setup times. This is something we all need to know. Sunday setup for Monday judging. So it starts at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon and it goes to midnight. And then Monday for Tuesday judging starts at Monday at 7 p.m. until 12 a.m. And the reason why it'll be later is because of the benching. And we'll get
into that says Sunday. Oh, I see. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. And it's for flow of people. That's why Monday, the Tuesday setup will be start later. But I mean, if you're there for both days, then you don't have to worry. But anyway, loading area. Their hang tag is required for access. So remember when you got that in the mail, just go put it in your car right now. You can drive around. Doesn't matter.
Make sure it's the right day. So I remember going one year and having the wrong day hanging, and they wouldn't let me in because I had the wrong day hanging. So.
Go figure. So anyway, exhibitors can unload at the Javits Center by entering the loading dock at West 40th Street and 12th Avenue. Access will be available via the front entrance at 11th Avenue and West 38th Street. The Javits Center will be open on Sunday, February 9th from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. for multi-day and Monday exhibitors to unload and set up. The venue will be reopened at 6 a.m. on Monday and Tuesday for the respective days of judging. Tuesday exhibitors desiring to unload in advance of judging may be able to do so Monday evening from 9 to 11 p.m. All exhibitors and dogs must exit the Javits Center by 1 a.m. Wednesday. That's weird, eh? 1 a.m. Or I wonder if that's supposed to be p.m. Agility exhibitors will not have access to the venue on Friday, February 7th. The venue will be open at 6 a.m. on Saturday, February the 8th. And I always forget that the Westminster Kennel Club has a huge agility trial.
They do.
It's fantastic. So winners of Best of Breed will receive a Best of Breed package, and that has everything you need to get you into Madison Square Gardens. Monday and Tuesday, there will be shuttles that take you and your dog and any equipment you need. And that's true. Anything, like you'll need to take your grooming table, and then your tack box, and probably a crate if you want, depending on your dog, because you will want to have a little benching area when you're in Madison Square Gardens, because I believe they'll do the same thing that they've always done. The public still gets to come in and see the dogs before the group judging.
Right.
So
it gets really crowded.
It is like jam packed. And when I say jam packed, I mean jammed packed. Yeah. And so if you have trouble with crowds, take your anxiety medication immediately.
Medication?
your medication, big time. Because it will get very, very crowded. It's so exciting though. So exciting. Anyway, what else? The shuttles run from 3:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. Best of Breed winners will be allowed to leave the benching area at 3 on the day of their judging to be able to get over to MSG and set up. Now, some of the facts that Megan gave, many people might not realize this, but Westminster, it's gone back to being a champions only show.
Champions only, yes.
Yes, so your dog has to be a champion. And when you enter, there is a spot, you have to put the date that your dog finished their championship on the entry form. And it was, how many, not that long ago, they did have class dogs again.
They had class dogs. I remember when I showed in 2015, because I was
going to say it was pre-COVID, but I don't know. Yeah.
So I don't know when it stopped though, but
they only did it for a couple of years.
Well, and they used to do it years ago as well.
It's at the very beginning. Yeah.
But it was always exciting when the class dog ended up winning the breed over all these nationally ranked dogs. I remember being in the pen bar, and Mark Shanoff had won the breed with his toy poodle class bitch, and we were watching the group on TV, and everybody cheered when she got announced. And he was a class bitch there. Yeah. Mark Shanoff was a poodle handler back in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, I guess. Can't remember when he passed away. Incredible handler. Incredible.
Oh, just he was very much a master of his art for sure. And also the other large, there's the very big junior handling competition there. Dogs entered in junior showmanship do not have to be champions, but you have to qualify with X number of wins to go to the garden. And agility dogs must have a mock or a POC title at the time of their entry. So I know mock is master agility champion, but I don't know what a P is. Maybe, I don't know what the P stands for. We'll have to get that. Megan, look that up. Anyway.
I got Megan from the show to look that up for us.
Yes. So is this a bench show? Now, this is one of the very few bench shows left. I don't even think we have any bench shows in Canada.
No, it used to be Chicago. It used to be Hall, Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any.
There's not that many. So what a bench show is, dogs must be on their benches, and they do have benches. They have sections by 11 a.m. on the day they are judged and remain on their benches, except for brief exercise breaks until the release time of 4:30. And now the reason why they do bench shows is you'll have all the same breed will be benched together, and this is for the public to come and look at these dogs. And the garden is the Westminster Kennel Club. They cater to their public, because the public comes to see these dogs like they do.
Yes, it's a huge spectator sport. This one is
huge. There are families that this is their thing. They do in February. They come every year.
Every year.
They get their tickets for the groups. They come, they watch. It's because we're always in it, it's just like, this is so weird that someone would be like so excited, but they are like thrilled. And I mean, we've got to see a lot of famous people at the dog show.
I met JFK Jr. there. We met.
I rode in an elevator with Joan Rivers,
George Foreman, and Don King. Yeah, we were together. Yeah, and
big hands.
Andy Rooney.
Yeah,
Glenn Sather, who was GM of the Rangers at the time.
Yeah,
got to meet him.
Yeah,
and it was Rod Stewart was there one year. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. So so like I said, it's very much for the spectators, and keep that in mind. Be pleasant about it. Even though it's New York, these people are excited to come and see the dog show for sure. So they have to be back on their benches within a half an hour after breed judging is complete. Best of breed variety winners will be released, like we said, at 3. And all dogs must be removed from the benching areas by 11:30 from all venues each evening. Now, what some people may not realize is if you don't adhere to the rules of going to your bench, you will be penalized.
You'll be fined. Yes.
You will be fined. And like, no jokes, you will be fined.
Yes.
So make sure that you have
follow the rules, people.
Yeah, just follow the rules. And they're not hard. And, you've got a thrilling day.
There's always extenuating circumstances too, and they will take those in the.
Oh, for sure.
Too. Like you're stuck in a crowd, or if I had to go to another ring or something. Yeah.
There are people you can go and like tell that to, so that they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, we won't, slap you, won't get fined.
They do their very best to make it run smoothly.
Yes, really exactly. Do. So this is where may I show and go? No, you may not show and go. There is no showing and going. There's showing and sitting on your bench. Only the dogs that are entered actually in junior showmanship may leave once their judging is complete. So I didn't know that. So as we said, all this information has been cited from the WestminsterKennelClub.org and the podcast Pure Dog Talk with Laura Reeves and Dr. Donald Sturts.
Yeah, so Laura and Megan said that was podcast.
Yeah, Megan said it was so excellent. It was really, really good to watch.
Laura Reeves does an incredible job with Pure Dog Talk. It's a wonderful podcast, and she had Donald on it, and is very informative. So
yes, so. That's that. Yeah. And then we'll have more Westminster stuff next week. We got Megan cooking on some stuff. I think Megan's trying to find Canadian handlers that have gone best in show other than you.
Oh yeah, well, there's been a few though.
There has been a few, and like if we go back further, there's been a lot more than just a few. So
yeah, and they were all. The thing is, they weren't showing Canadian-owned dogs. They were handlers that are working in America now, and they were Canadian.
But we're still proud of them.
Oh, we are extremely proud of them
because they're Canadiana. So we'll do that. Yeah. So did you find anything on the internet?
No, I did not really. So did you?
Well, what I did find, because after Megan inundated me with all this information, I did go on the Westminster Kennel Club, and I had no idea they had field trials. They do quite a few things. They do field trials. They have, what else did they do? They do agility and obedience. I didn't know that they did. Realized that they did obedience too. But yeah, they do field trial stuff. The AKC pointing breed, and you can be on horseback or walking. Who'd have known? So there's lots of information. The website itself is just it's insane. It's insane. It's great. It's really good. And then I also was looking up some dog show books, some Westminster books. And I laugh because I think there's some people selling their catalogs on the eBay or whatever. Do you remember the guy that used to sell the catalogs?
Oh yeah,
there was this guy.
How do you say it? Your doggy dictionary.
It's the Bible of the Beagles.
Yeah, he was great.
Oh, he was so good. It's just this guy selling, just like he was selling popcorn in the stands. He had his. He was so good.
Get your doggy diary. Get your Beagle Bible. Get your.
He had the collection of collies. He had like a half a dozen or dozen different sayings, and they were always good. And you always waited for him to go by and be like, "Oh, that's a new one." Yeah.
The year P went best in show, I got home and I got a surprise gift from Steve Selwood, side of the show.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me the 1975 catalog, the year Dudley, Sir Lancelot Bar Van went best in show.
Oh, wow.
But not only do I have that, I have it signed by Ann Snelling, because it was Ann Snelling's.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so that's a keepsake for sure.
Well, I have one that's a keepsake too.
Which one, Jezreel's?
No, the one you got signed for me, trying to embarrass the crap out of me. By Bruce Schultz. I still covered it.
Friend of the show, Bruce Schultz. Yep, that was just Tara's birthday the other day. Happy birthday!
Yeah,
so, yeah. But yeah, he was your hero for a long time. So I used to tease you with things with Bruce and make him sign stuff for you.
You were terrible. Terrible.
It was funny.
I'm gonna find that photo though. I know I've got it somewhere.
Can I explain the photo?
Yeah, you can.
All right. So we were at English Internationals in California.
No, it wasn't in California. It was in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And we had dinner with Bruce and Gretchen Schultz.
Gretchen Schultz, at that time.
And somebody came along and took a picture of the.
It was Garth.
Garth came along and took a picture of the four of us having dinner.
And I'm on one end, and then it's me, you, Gretchen, and then Bruce.
And the next time I saw that picture, I was visiting Yvonne, and I think it was on the refrigerator.
It was.
There was no more.
There was no Will or Gretchen.
No Gretchen. It was just dinner with Bruce, Yvonne and Bruce. So she had photoshopped Gretchen and myself out.
It wasn't much of a Photoshop. It was almost like Garth.
Yeah, Garth Photoshop.
But it was pretty funny. So yeah, I have that picture somewhere. Anytime I come across it, I laugh.
That's
because it was funny. Yes.
I want to send a shout out to our friend Ty Manoy. Ty was in Palm Springs.
Yes.
Ty came to work for me when he was a teenager. He's from Hawaii, and he was the funniest. We all had so much fun with Ty, and then we, like everything else, we drifted apart, right?
Yep.
And then
I
got a call from I'm in Seattle doing a seminar, and I got a message from him, and he is in Seattle or close to Seattle picking up his English setter puppy, and we arranged to meet, and I hadn't seen Ty in 20 years or something like that. But now he's back showing dogs again.
Yeah,
setters and beagles.
Yes. So. Ty Manoy, the Pineapple King.
He was amazing. We had so much fun with him.
Do you remember the very first time I met him, and I came into the house and I just saw his shoes?
We left his shoes at the front door.
I'm like, whose canoes are these? Big kid walks around the corner. They'd be mine.
But he was great. We had so much fun, and he was a good assistant. And it was so good to see him. I'm glad he's showing dogs again, because you can see how happy he is. Because now he messages both of us and tells us what he's doing. It's fun.
Well, he's got me going to a show in Amana. I got to look that up. It's like, you got to come. Okay. So don't forget to like and subscribe.
For the podcast, the YouTube. And please, you can do the same for Canine Chronicle TV.
Yes,
my interviews, but they're all on YouTube as well. So if you subscribe to one, you subscribe to them all.
If you want to send us any emails, and we've got a couple of really nice emails lately. Yeah. You send them to dogshowtips@gmail.com. And a few of them I've got, I get some on Facebook too. I had a shout out to Jen Council in Alberta. She really enjoyed our top 10. last week. She really enjoyed. She says, I think everyone thinks I'm crazy because I'm laughing out loud. So she must have been listening to one of the podcasts.
Friend of the show, Sarah Petrie, sends a lot of things too.
Yes, she does. She has sent us some good ideas, and we're going to take her up on some of those and get those done now that we have Megan, friend of the show, to do some work for us. And Jean Brunton of the English Setter Club of Canada, she actually asked about the oral exam stuff. Because our breed is affected by that. And we had a really nice, email. That was a really nice email from the newcomer with the Irish red and white.
Yes, I'm trying to see.
Well, she had Irish, she said before. So that was really nice. And she suggested, she suggested to do a feature on owner-handler stuff. And we will definitely do that.
Yeah, Marie-Eve Larocque is a wonderful email thanking us, congratulating us on the show, telling us how much she enjoys the show, and now she's just starting showing dogs again.
So we will.
She's got 9 points on her dog, her red and white dog, and she really enjoys the podcast. And she'd like to know if we could do a little more features on owner handlers.
Yeah, we will. We'll definitely do that.
And owner handler information, not just owner handlers.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have to give a shout out to our good friend Darlene.
Darlene Wild, yes.
Who now lives in Alberta, who's originally from Sydney, Nova Scotia, lived in BC, then came to Toronto. Now she's out.
She worked for me.
In the kennel.
You were there.
Yeah. Because then Dar and I, we got our own apartment, and then in Milton, downtown Milton, and Darlene is the reason why we say the Lord. That's a Darleneisms.
The Lord.
The Lord. We love you. We love you, Darlene. The Lord. So, and I think that's about it.
That's about it for this week. And again, no dog shows this weekend, so we have to find something to talk about for next week.
Oh, I will have something to talk about.
Uh-oh.
Where I got to go this weekend.
Oh, you have to drive to Winnipeg. Yes.
I have to drive my mother to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So, well, hopefully I make it back, or both of us make it back.
You both will.
Stay tuned.
All right. Well, send us out of here. Get us out of here, Yvonne.
All right. Everyone have a great weekend. Remember to be kind. Seatbelts on. Glasses on. Till next week.
Next week. Clark, stop scratching.
You never know who might come out. Okay, I can't find that thing you want me to find.
You press that and more comes up.
Yeah, there's no crying in dog shows.
You're not getting anything good here, dog.